Let's see what signature spell might be best in a Tyvar Jubilant Brawler Oathbreaker deck. Tyvar costs 1 black-green and starts at 3 loyalty. You may activate abilities of creatures you control as though those creatures had haste. +1, untap up to 1 target creature. -2, mill 3 cards, then you may return a creature card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. This deck seems to want to be built around 1 and 2 mana dorks. And since you're going to have a ton of them in your deck, Glimpse of Nature would be an awesome choice. It's a sorcery for green. Whenever you play a creature spell this turn, draw a card. In the right build, this can mean cast a creature, draw a creature, cast a creature, draw a creature, over and over. Or we could go with Worldly Tutor to search up any creature in your deck and put it on top of your library. Tyvar then -2s to put it in your graveyard, and then puts it straight onto the battlefield. Entomb does the same thing in a different way. Search your library for a card and put it into your graveyard, and then Tyvar will reanimate it. Collected Company sounds really strong too. It just skips the graveyard. Look at the top 6 cards of your library, put up to 2 creature cards with converted mana cost 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield. And I always appreciate signature spells that cost 1 mana more than your Oathbreaker, because then you can play it on curve. Call of the Death Dealer is a sorcery for 2 black. Return up to 2 target creature cards with total converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Put a Death Touch counter on either of them, then put a Menace counter on either of them. If you have a critical mass of 1 and 2 mana creatures, this could be really strong, especially since Tyvar already puts things in the graveyard with his -2. Vitalize is an instant for green. Untap all creatures you control. This gives you a second use out of all your mana dorks for a turn. I think my personal favorite is Awaken the Woods. It's a sorcery for X green. Create X green forest dryad land creature tokens. Now normally these creatures wouldn't be able to tap for mana on the turn you get them out because they're creatures and they have summoning sickness, but Tyvar takes care of that. I think choosing a signature spell with X in its cost is a really powerful way to build the deck. With the amount of mana dorks you're probably going to have in here, mid-game you're going to be able to fire off a really big X spell. Speaking of which, we could just choose a signature spell that's a finisher. Exsanguinate and Torrent of Hellfire can both just take out your opponents. All of your opponents at once, in fact. Genesis Wave might also be good. Reveal the top X cards of your library. You may put any number of permanent cards with converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield. This gets lands too, I love that. Elf Tribal is also a decent option. Elven Ambush is an instant for 3 and a green. Create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token for each elf you control. My gut says this wouldn't be the most powerful direction to take the deck, but if you want to build Elf Tribal and Oathbreaker, I think this is a pretty good option. Last card I want to mention is Tyvar Stand, not because it's powerful in the deck, because it doesn't really synergize with the deck, but because it's thematic. It's Tyvar Stand in a Tyvar deck. It's an instant for X green. Target creature you control gets +X/+X and gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. I take it back. With the X spell thing, it is kind of synergistic with the deck. It's still pretty good. I do actually like this quite a bit. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and consider subscribing if you want to see more like this. I actually have a ton of these videos already, so you can check those out too. Alright, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.